Welcome to the Yellow Jacket Experience, episode number 4. I'm here with volleyball sophomore Naomi Eckert-Rivera. Naomi, how you doing?
I'm all good. Thank you for asking, Seth. What about you?
Doing fantastic. It's been a heck of a semester for everybody, but it's good to be here.
Yeah.
Um, but this is about you, so let's start with the obvious. How did you get into playing volleyball?
It all started when I was 6 years old. I live in Puerto Rico, so volleyball is really big around here. Everyone really knows about it, and it's just like a childhood thing. So not only is it just Puerto Rican heritage also to play volleyball, but my big brother, Joshua, he plays volleyball as well. And he was the one that actually kind of like dragged me into playing when I was smaller. He would like toss the ball and I got the feel of it. And because of him, I say it's a big part why I started playing volleyball.
So is it a big thing in your family in general, or is it just kind of you and your brother?
I'd say it is. My dad used to play volleyball long, long years back, but he not only played it, but he really enjoys watching it. He's a big fan.
Well, it's good. It's good to have that kind of that family influence. To move on to your high school career, you were the captain of your high school team for 4 years, I believe. How did that experience as a leader influence you as an athlete and as a person?
I'd say greatly. It has helped me outgrow as well, not only as to being in the leadership position, but it's helped me be more like sure about myself. I've learned a lot about others by being in that position, and it just overall has helped me greatly um, educationally and just getting to know other people, and it's really gotten me where I am right now.
It's good. Now, I mean, it got actually when I read that the first time, it was like someone say a 4-year captain. That's unusual. So you were a captain as a freshman. That means in high school.
Yeah. My varsity, I played varsity since I was in 8th grade, actually,
Oh,
when
that makes a little more
back in my
sense.
high school. Yeah. And I guess I earned it. I played hard. I did what I had to do, and I made it.
Yeah, if you're a captain as a ninth grader, that's obviously that says quite a bit about you, and that's not really a surprise thinking about how you are on the court, or at least what I watched last year. Speaking of coming to AIC, Puerto Rico is a long way away from Springfield. How did you get in contact with Coach Cribben, and what ultimately made you make the decision that AIC was the place for you?
It was kind of ironic because the first time I met Coach was I went to it's called an exact camp in Boston. It was like a recruiting volleyball camp that I went up in, if I believe it was my junior year of high school. I went up looking at another university that the coach was going to be there and told me, "Oh, come up. I'll see you play, participate in the camp, and we'll talk a little after that." And it turned out being that coach was one of the coaches as well in the camp, but I wasn't expecting it. I had no idea of AIC or anything. So when I played and everything, coach came up to me without knowing me and he was like, "You're Puerto Rican, right?" And I was like, "Yeah, sorry, who are you?" And he was like, "Oh, I'm head coach from AIC." I was like, "Oh, nice to meet you." And I was like, "How did you know I was Puerto Rican?" He's like, "Oh, the headband and just your style of play." And I was like, "Oh, that's cool." And then he started explaining how there's other Puerto Ricans on the team and how overall there's a lot of Puerto Ricans at AIC. And what made me take the final decision was I went up to practice after the camp at AIC and I just felt comfortable. I felt at home. Coach made it very welcoming and the girls as well. Um, there's a lot of culture, a lot of diversity, and I just felt like that was the place to go.
Was that camp your first ever trip to New England or to Massachusetts?
I had been to Massachusetts, if I'm not wrong, like 2 years prior, visiting to Boston, but volleyball related, yeah.
Now, you talk about the culture of the volleyball team and a lot of Puerto Rican athletes on the team, and then the other country that's usually fairly well represented on the volleyball team is Serbia. What's that like with having those two different, I would assume very different cultures on the same team, and how has that kind of helped you grow as a person to have that different influence?
Yeah, overall it's very interesting just because, as you say, it's different cultures. But we get along so well, and it teaches you so much about other people and just other people's way of life. Um, it we learn, like, just jokingly, a couple words. We actually sometimes communicate in their language with certain plays or something, or just because Yana would tell me this, I had to like kind of get used to it. But I found it very interesting and a super well experience, honestly.
Now, you came in as a freshman, started right away on a team that was fairly old. I mean, you had Yana Podic, you've already mentioned. Sarah Lowry on the team had come in as a grad student, a transfer. What was it like being in the lineup as a freshman, being a regular, playing alongside players who were in their third, fourth, maybe even fifth years? And what did you learn from them?
Um, at the beginning, I have to say it was scary. I felt like to a degree it was overwhelming. I had a lot of expectations to meet, not only to the previous setter, but to my players and to my hitters. Um, it was an overall learning experience. As you say, what did I learn? Well, just once again, diversity. You get to learn everything that every other player has learned during their years prior to that game, and just all they've learned somehow always passes down to you. They taught me a lot of just keeping myself together and playing point by point, because you never know what happens, and just to give you your max at all times, because you never know, and that's the game of volleyball.
Now, you picked up East Region Freshman of the Year honors. What does it mean to you to have gotten an award like that, to be named Regional Rookie of the Year out of all of the many talented players in the East Region that could have won that award?
Oh, it's a great feeling, honestly. Um, I can say I really worked hard for it. I put in my hours. I was always open to hearing other people's ideas and concerns, and just trying to get comfortable with everyone. Um, I feel super appreciative and just overall great. It's just something I didn't expect, and just knowing that as a freshman, I got the opportunity to win it. It just it says a lot to me, and a lot of the potential I have to work for and keep working to continue earning maybe that again and more.
You've been home this semester. What's training like for you, being that you're kind of doing it on your own, not with the team because you're back down in Puerto Rico and not up here in Springfield?
Sometimes I have to say it's a little difficult just because of motivation wise. Over there, we have a great support system. We always encourage each other to go practice and go lift and do this and that. But knowing the position I hold, and that I have to put it in not only for myself but for the team, um, regarding the Puerto Rico's laws with everything that's going on, I've had the opportunity to practice every Saturday with my coach and mentor. Um, for years to come, we practice every Saturday, and I train on my own however I can and the times I can at home, regarding the schedule with like classes and everything, but I've managed to work my way through.
What kind of things do you do to train? That's obviously, volleyball being such a team sport, it's probably fairly hard to practice just by yourself. So what kind of things do you do?
Normally when I'm by myself alone, I normally don't do that much volleyball, other than mixing volleyball and physical activity. So maybe sometimes I do abdominal volleys to the wall, or I do squatting and volleying to the wall, just to keep the touch going. And as I stated before, with my mentor, my coach, on Saturdays, she does a one-to-one with me. So I get to practice a lot of my just the hard things I've always had troubles with, and I'm just trying to improve year by year.
Well, that makes sense. You find ways to fit it in. Um, Other than volleyball, what's something that you're passionate about that people may not know?
Um, I'm really open actually, but I'd say overall just family and friends. I'm a very passionate person, just having to spend time with them and making time for my family and my friends. Other than that, it's my world is volleyball and education.
Speaking of that, you're a health science major. What made you choose that major, or what do you want to do with your degree when you graduate?
I'm a exercise science bachelor's. Um, I want to open my own sports chiropractic office when I graduate and I get all the credits possible for that. I chose this field because, well, obviously, since I'm an athlete, normally we always go that direction as well. But my dad, he aspired to be a chiropractic when he was younger, and his dream didn't get fulfilled. And then I have a lot of, like, just as an athlete, conditions you have to treat. And the chiropractor was one I used to see maybe weekly or monthly. And I just got the habit of going and enjoying it and actually getting very interested in what he or she would do to my body and how it would help me. And that really inspired me to do that with my own life.
That's a relatively new program for AIC, the exercise science program. What have the classes been like? What have the professors been like?
Oh, it's been great. I personally always talk about it. I feel like it's such a good program, how it's basically a PT but more centered into sports. And I just absolutely love it, just how you learn your body and movement and how this and that affects your body. It's professors are great, very understanding and super good in teaching. And just overall, I love it.
Has working in a program like that helped you as a volleyball player? Like, have you learned things there that you're like, oh, now I can take this to the court and maybe be a better athlete because of it?
Oh, most definitely. Just as basic as stretching, even though people say it's very important, just learning about how it impacts you and it actually does help you in many aspects. You learn a lot and you actually apply it.
Well, Naomi, there's one question we ask everybody, and you really kind of answered it to a degree at the beginning. But other than your parents, and I'm going to throw in for this one, other than your brother as well, who's somebody who's had a significant influence on your life?
I had, as I mentioned before, my mentor and my coach. Her name's Gloria Ortega. She's a Puerto Rican professional volleyball player here. She also played internationally in Europe. She's been that coach that's always been there for me. Not only there support as a support system, but she's been the one that's trained me and made me the person who I am right now. She's worked really hard for me, gives the extra mile for me, as well as me with her. We've known each other for years, and it's just been a very, very helpful person, and I aspire to be like her and play professionally one day.
Well, certainly all of us at AIC are grateful for everything she's done for you and how she's made you into a fantastic volleyball player and a fantastic person. Naomi, really great to have you on here. This was awesome. It was great talking to you. Looking forward to seeing you back on campus this after winter break, and hopefully we could get some volleyball in.
Yes, very excited for that.
And Naomi Eckert-Rivera, AIC sophomore, the defending East Region Rookie of the Year here on the Yellow Jacket Experience.